views are not where hopefully they will be if I'm successful. I'm thinking 5 times a week. I might have one time with battle, but the problem with having Rexy come up is that Helen has said that he wants to fuck up his stream. And
Well,
were you telling me? Someone was telling me I can. I already forgot, Russell. How do we figure out? Don't let him up. Forgot that
Can
part.
Well, the StreamYards thing is weird because you can just make a like before you even when you're still backstage waiting to come on a StreamYard streams, you can
Yeah,
put any name you want, you can put any picture you want
yeah,
as your avatar. I
yeah.
mean, if I wanted to, I could put that I was President Trump and have a picture of him and then try to get on the stream. So I don't know, man. I don't know the best way to avoid being.
Click, both of us are. Russell's a cool guy, but he's not the Russ. I don't mean. I never talked to Click. Russ. Russell.
That's fine. That's fine, dude. I'm not feeling neglected or
He's really so
anything.
mentally
Don't
healthy.
worry about it.
Um, uh,
I'm, I'm, I'm
I,
not the jealous type.
well, I was interested in this in the sequence. I think when you did the David Walsh, you didn't do it in a linear time frame, did you?
ooh, you hear that? No, I didn't. I mixed it up a little bit. You gotta chop it up a
I
little
liked
bit.
it. Man, that was good. That
That
was really good.
I noticed that you said the other day that that was probably my finest piece of work, and I went and rewatched it after you said, and I was like, you know what, that is pretty goddamn good. And the Jackson Black music in the beginning, like, here's the thing with any show, any clip that you do, or any book
I,
that you write, right? At the beginning's the first thing. You kind of want to like remember Breaking Bad? Did you ever watch Breaking Bad, Sam?
love Big Breaking Bad, of
So
course.
you remember how in a lot of Breaking Bad episodes, you're just put right into the chaos, and so
Yes.
instantly that gets you kind of wondering, well, how the fuck did we get to that in the storyline? So it hooks you, right? So I think that's why it's
Right, it
cool to
did.
fuck around with the timeline.
I think we've talked about this before. I like to think of it like baseball, that after you watch enough baseball, you get into the intricate, I can't say the word, intricacies and the nuance. So when I watch, I just don't watch like I did 2 years ago. I'm seeing the technique that you put into it, and boy, that worked. I really like that. It
Thanks.
was
Yeah.
subtle. It
Well,
was real subtle. I
if
like
there were
that
more
part too.
people who filmed more of their life, like I can do that with anybody who's filmed a lot of their life and put it online. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wish there was more people that did it. Obviously, that's kind of dangerous and shit like that. But
They don't do it in this kind of a context of our universe. They do it in film school and on groups, and that's just not our demographic. Like I've always said, you made good choice to be in an environment you want, but there's always sacrifices, and you've given up being in a group of artistic people who would understand that part of you. I think that's pretty obvious.
I would say though that that YouTube, especially anybody, especially somebody who I'm going to talk to on Discord, they're not. They're not the typical demographic. They're a certain type of person. They're typically a creator in some form or fashion, or aspiring to be a creator. But
They'd be good for support, but they're not like you.
I would add, thanks, Sam. I'd ask you a question real quick with your channel. What's your goal? I guess.
To learn, I really don't don't want to get into like I think we talked about Ted Kaczynski.
Mm-hmm.
I
You want to talk about stuff like that on the show, Sam?
want to make the point to Click so he gets me.
No,
So
Oh,
no, I
about
know.
his
Okay, I
hatred of
get what you're saying,
technology. Okay.
but I mean,
anti-technology.
not. I'm not
I,
saying what do you want to talk about. What is the like? Do you want to grab a bunch of new viewers, or do you want to just do what you do, and then whoever comes
want,
comes and they're into
I
your
want,
shit?
I want great content
Mm-hmm.
want to build, and I don't want to get wrapped up into numbers because that killed busters. Eventually, I'd like to encourage people to donate enough money, and the first 500 goes into equipment for Russell.
Well,
And
look at that dumb fucking show, Hot Wing, or what's it called? Not Hot Wings. You know, Hot Ones, right? Where they eat spicy wings and do interviews. Like
I love
that's
that show. I used to watch it.
A lot of people watch it, right?
I'm
And
not-
it's just a dumb show about wings, but they don't
Not
sub for
really.
the wing footage. They sub because the conversations that are being had, right?
It's the people's reactions under duress. In this case, the spice makes them act in a certain way. So it's about people psychology. I used to watch it. I thought the guy was really good, by the way.
Yeah,
we
he's
talked
got
about
good
this.
questions. You know, he's got a good team behind him. You can tell because the questions are so
True.
stinging and so
Yes.
quick. And like you said, the person's already in duress. Like their fucking mouths on fire. They're chugging milk and shit like that.
Right.
But I mean, I guess that aside, it's the questions. It's the way that the questions get asked.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it doesn't really matter what your show is about, I guess, as long as you guys have a good rapport and everything's going good and you're engaging. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I can't wait to see what happens, man.
Well, it will be structure. It will be planned like I used to do, but I like to meander off and go. What interests me as a viewer, when you and me were in Sans chat, that first phone call was just, why aren't they asking him questions I want to know?
Well, I got kind of a beef now. You know, I saw a picture of you. You're an okay-looking guy. Why are you behind that microphone?
I like the setup.
Why don't you try, like, one time show your face? It might be better.
I've shown my face mad times.
You do?
Yes, there's my mad pictures of me without. Nigga, if you're looking right now, not
I'm
behind the
looking at
mic.
eyes. I don't see the mouth. Hey, just my opinion. Your clothes, man. You have some serious thoughts. I just think sometimes it looks kind of goofy. I mean, it's cool once or twice, but it's like a costume. You took them off. You wear some other clothes one time. And I don't know. It made you look more serious.
Okay.
Okay, you don't care.
No,
Okay,
I get bitches and pussy, so I don't care what no
Hey,
nigga who doesn't get
you're
bitches and pussy
you're calling
cares.
me a bitch? You're calling me a bitch faggot?
No, I just said I don't care what a nigga who doesn't get pussy says. So unless you got a stable full of bitches, then don't tell me how to dress.
Okay, thanks. You didn't like my call. Well, maybe the video guy will come on.
Well, I don't know if I didn't like your call, but this is your beef that I didn't like your call.
I know it's not. Okay, well, I got a bigger beef, but I would just repeat myself that you would be pussy whipped. It turned out that the reason you don't want to go on, except if you have money, is you're pussy whipped. And that's okay. You love your wife.
No, honestly, I had nothing to do with pussy whip. It's personal. I wouldn't waste the fucking time.
What are you talking about?
Dude, I had over 1,000 Twitter followers before I did YouTube.
Okay.
I don't need to do this. And maybe that hasn't dawned on people. You think No. I chill. This is justifiable money. Like, this is okay to do. I never knew what Reddit was. I just made a video one day about Opie and they're getting paid money. And my bitch might say, why are you wasting time? But if she didn't say that, I wouldn't waste my time anyway.
And but I need people to this Aussie Outlaw, by the way, did it to get me back on track because I dominate too much sometimes and I get bored. That's why I don't like panels. I don't want to. If someone's fast and 18, that's really cool. But most people on panels are not clickbait.
I don't
me.
I don't mind panels, but what happens when you get I like radio better. I don't like because when there's a distraction on there, when there's 5 different squares other than yourself to look
Exactly.
at, and then people are then the panel starts to stare at everybody instead of actually talking. I mean, and when you're doing it this way, you can look at the chat. I don't know. I keep going back to the chat, but the chat's important.
It's important. We were chat. That's how we started.
It's especially important when you're starting out and your numbers aren't like,
Agree.
through the roof.
When it can't, now, if you're a beautiful person or a handsome person like me, I would get women. I don't think the men would care that much, but I don't want women. I mean, I don't think I do that kind of content. I get flirty, but I don't think I want that kind of content that would attract the dames.
Do you feel like your power has been slightly taken away now that you have to wear a mask in public in most places?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Because everybody else looks strikingly handsome as well.
You can't communicate, but especially well, me, because a lot of my ego is through my looks.
Right, you've lost those beautiful, like that square jawline and all the parts that get the women going wild.
Well,
like if Kurt Cobain had been taller and never started shooting up.
Right, or maybe just a few times, right?
I love Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, of course. Right?
What do you think about all that? Like, do you guys think that the COVID shit's like? I mean, I actually for the first time, and kind of a little bit like, wow, this shit's getting.
I talked about it on my show today. I talked about it, and I didn't like what Jay used to say, because you look at the positivity rate, and that's just a dead giveaway. If you have 10, it means 1 in 10 people walking around I talked about it. So I agree with you, Clic.
Here's what's crazy is that what I don't like is that a lot of people will be like, oh, Taiwan only has like 500 cases. Right. And I'm like, yeah, but do you think they're testing on the same level that we are? Or
first of all, if you would listen to the show, this is what I said. I said, let's no bullshit. You can come up with all kind of rationalizations that everyone else doesn't wear a mask. Bottom line, you got to know it's the right thing to do. You don't do it because you're more selfish. That's the truth.
Right. There's a lot of things that are unconstitutional. Right? Like you can't force someone to, like, I don't know, if someone's dying on the street.
Of course, you can force people to put on seatbelts. Of course. Now, I love my constitutional rights, but health trumps that. Dig?
Right.
Really does. Public health.
It's a tough one. If
your mom got it, right? You think different. And your mom might get it because this thing seems to be going out of control at this point.
Right. It's like live free or die, and then at the same time, it's like, do you really believe that? I mean, how far are we willing to push our convictions? Like when does when do you put your money where your mouth is and actually fucking, like, if someone actually had COVID and you found out and you were one of those anti-mask people, would you go in that room without a mask? You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying it's bullshit. I'm saying that this live free and die, they don't mean that. It sounds good. You think they've studied the Constitution and all of that? That's what I said. Everybody must know that it's good to do and uncomfortable, and it's just an act of being selfish. Now, when you're in your teens, that's why those people are having fun, but it's selfishness.
For the first time in my life, I'm starting to feel like I would have been a redcoat in the American Revolution. Because I'm just seeing how sometimes you just need to lead with authority and brutality because people are so ignorant. It's like...
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to get too political, but the videos you've been posting, the videos that Clic has been posting recently, I think we're probably like on the same page politically in a lot of
it's madness.
Except he voted for Bernie Sanders. Other than that,
but check this out, like, dude, the fucking world is getting. I mean, it's been crazy, yeah, but I mean, it's just being openly crazy now. Like, people are fucking tearing down statues and doing all that kind of bullshit. It's like,
one is common that there'll be looters. Any reason they can. The second part is really the crazy part. That the politicians told the police don't go on in first. The police wanted to. I know a couple officers. They wanted to. A lot of them anyway, and they were told not to. That's crazy. You can't have people taking over buildings in Seattle and looting, especially because people are watching on TV.
Because
Crazy, right?
I'm thinking like the Boston Massacre. Did it? It probably didn't go down like that. Because and I'm starting to see why people had such a tight leash on the press, and why it was so radical for us to be like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. You guys can print anything that you want. And if you know anything about history, you know that what was it? Sorry,
Talking to me, dude.
Just took a deep dab. Benjamin Franklin, he owned a printing press right in Philadelphia. So
I know about him.
So he's the richest dude in Philadelphia. And his ass was like, hey, you know what? This is awesome. I can tell people whatever the fuck I want and they'll believe it. Isn't that crazy? Right. There was some type of media delivery system where, okay, I've got 1,000 newspapers and then I offload half of it to this guy. It was basically the...
I think Franklin started the post office, by the way.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he had all
that's
these
what I'm saying.
businesses. Yeah, he had a bunch of like little postal office things. He was a brilliant man. I read a biography. He's from Philadelphia, of course, as you mentioned.
Wasn't Paul Revere
he knew you control the press. You're talking about if you control the means of communication, that's a powerful thing, especially back there before any kind of real electronic media, certainly. So, right. Yeah, you're right, man.
He would have been like an 18th century version of Jack Dorsey, basically. Now, right. so imagine if Jack Dorsey endorses Black Lives Matter, or like let's say something even more radical, something like an Antifa, right? Basically, and then at that point you can rewrite history. So you never really know what happened. And look how we have video evidence of shit happening that gets twisted and used as propaganda. Imagine how the Boston Massacre went down. In reality,
we don't know because when it reaches like these billionaires, it's a different world. And I look at Epstein. I said on the show, that's one conspiracy I believe in. It's a different world, and we don't. That's what makes it difficult to make our judgments. Look how long Epstein. I agree with you, right, Russell? The only thing I'm liberal is everybody should be entitled to medical care. Other than that, I think we probably agree on most things.
Go ahead, Russ.
I'm from Virginia, which is like one of the main places they're fucking tearing down all the statues and having peaceful protests on a daily basis, nightly basis and stuff. And I don't know if how can I phrase this?
Are they turning you into a white supremacist, more or less?
No, but I'm getting to the point where every once in a while I find myself agreeing with them, but then I snap out of it.
That's by design.
I'm just kind of like, what the fuck do you want? What else are you gonna fucking ask for?
Yeah, at some point you're just like, yeah, you're fucking right. I am.
They should ask for whatever they want. If people get into it, of course they're going to ask for stuff. It's not the asking; it's the response.
Like part of your paycheck going to reparations and shit like that.
So why do people give into them? Right? That's what I'm saying. That's the crazy thing. You're always going to have people who want to tear down things. You do.
But then you've got people who do it. Now they're doing it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Now they're actually doing it, and they're being endorsed by politicians to do it too. That's what's weird. In the media too. You know who's a real douche is Don Lemon. I can't take him.
Yeah. No.
He should not. That's not journalism.
I know, man.
That's not journalism.
He's a weird. I agree.
He's not.
He has skills, but
he's a piece of shit. And
I'm gonna be kind of racist here, so forgive me. But I'm gonna be a white guy talking about race, so that's racism nowadays. But why is it that people that are biracial, like half black and half white, are like the most militant black?
Obama wasn't, for sure.
Well, they have the brains of a white, but the skin of a black, so they're very dangerous. They're a hybrid.
Shit. I never fucking thought of that, man. That's a great theory.
They're like, it's like what were those things called in Alien? Zeno something. I can't remember. You know what I'm saying.
I don't think that's racist, Russell. By the way.
I just noticed that, like, when you hear the people like yelling and like trying to like fucking like pick fights with people and stuff. I mean, I'm almost as dark as they are.
Oh, because they're confused about their identity. So it's just a
It
way
must
of
be. It must fucking be.
because it's not cool to just, oh, I'm half white, half black. Look what happened to that golfer. People didn't take him seriously. He wanted that famous, he's half black, half. He would go around calling himself biracial. You get no respect like that, man. So you kind of choose it, don't you? Now, in the old days, they were, if they had a little bit of, if they passed as white.
Sam, you there?
I'm here.
I mean, look at Royce Lopez is a Cuban, and people will say that he's a white supremacist, but he passes for white. Except
yeah,
for the
certain
yellow
races do, and
yeah,
like there'll be people that are Spanish, of any sort of Spanish, like they're not European, Caucasian, but people are just like, yeah, that's a white dude.
Russell, they have racism in Mexico because some of the people in Mexico say, "Oh, I'm Spanish. I'm from Spain." So race is kind of a weird thing, anyway, right? For sure, weird. I think.
Did you guys see that video of that guy getting shot by that lady cop, and the guy just keeps coming at her?
No, I haven't. I'm embarrassed to say I haven't watched the David Walsh documentary. I put that in my queue to watch later.
It's powerful. It's isolated by itself. It's within more of I don't know how you would describe it, but it's like, doesn't it start later on or something? The stream.
The stream?
There's a lot of stuff. That night, it was a lot of stuff besides David Walsh, right?
Oh, no. It's a standalone.
Chicago Hero?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got it ready to watch.
He's
gonna do your show, isn't he, Sam?
This is what happens. Clic knows that when you start with a show and it's good, you start hearing from people. You stop hearing from, and then you lose a show, and you stop hearing from people. So David Walsh is like that. Yeah, he's been writing me again.
He has.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a reasonably unusual guy. But
you know what? He's exactly like everybody from my hometown. That's why I actually would get along perfectly with David Walsh.
Yeah, I get a lot, but he. This is why Clicky got the award. I've talked about it before. It's no big rocket science that a good host brings out the best, and David is not that good with not a good host. So with me and Clicky especially, we bring out his best, and he can be cool. But hear what I'm saying?
Dude,
it's up to the host.
You, Russell and him and Hostbuster.
He got too fucked up a lot of the times. Even I'll admit that. Whatever shit he was mixing. But when he would do interviews, like I saw recently him and Cosmic interviewing German lady. He's really good at doing interviews.
Oh, not only that, but whatever happened, whatever the case was, he let Sam.
He's good at asking questions.
Well, besides that, he allowed Sam to take over, the ship, and fucking Sam got you so pissed off that you threatened his life, and it made for the most interesting fucking shit that's happened in a long time. So it's just funny how.
Yeah, I was wrong, Sam. I had heard that clip got pulled, but it's still up. The only clip that's ever been made of me is me just completely sleep deprived and losing my fucking shit on you. So.
It's one of the best clips on the internet. But Clic, Russell became known basically for that. being this kind of out of control when he was in control more than me and HB.
I'm normally not like that, dude. It's just like maybe like every few months or so I get that pissed off about something. If even
Sam
that,
was doing it. He was needling you. He knew what he was doing. It was hilarious though. The whole thing fucking worked. But
I kind of knew where it was headed, and I just decided just to go with it.
Sam was like,
Sam's
like, there's he's like, there's David Walsh.
Real people, you know.
He's just doing that cool thing. We do that cool thing. I was like, what the fuck? It was like 7 a.m. I was like,
it was great.
Yeah, fantastic.
I was so tired too, and I was not all that happy with Sam for hours and hours and hours. And by the time I finally got on, I was a fucking mess, man. I was so pissed. Part of me wanted to do it as like a wrestling gimmick, but the bigger part of me was actually really pissed off. So I kind of...
Clic, if you listen to Russell Cook, he had told us he had problems with rage. You see? This is real. It wasn't phony. I discussed my father, Russell, at the middle, but most people aren't going to spend 12 hours. But we had talked about all these things. HB had talked about his supercritical father and personal stuff. And I wanted to see the real, so I provoked.
Do you ever get mad, Sam?
And I talked about spitting on my first wife. I talked about putting a guy in the hospital. I talked about
I'm talking about in a capacity online. Like, could anybody on here piss you off that bad? Or do you keep your cool? Because you seem to keep your cool.
We talked about this. What I do is, when I go online, I say we have these defense mechanisms, and I say this is one time I'm just going to take off the filter because it will be better stream. It will be real, and it's fun. It's fun to just let everything. Real life, you can't do that, but on a stream, the worst they can do is ban you, right, or take down your channel. And I'm not a racist or threaten violence, so I'll probably be okay.
Well,
but what about you?
Me, I've gotten mad on here before. You triggered me before, and you kind of got to step back.
I have a different opinion slightly, that be emotional, because I don't even like the word triggered. I would prefer being emotional because that's real. You get to be yourself, and most of all, people like that. I like that. I like watching someone. If they go off, it's interesting if it's real.
I would suggest that maybe the more, because like I thought about this, like what's true love? Like, can you actually fall in love? Don't answer this. This is rhetorical, but can you actually fall in love at first sight, or does it take years of sacrifice and pain and struggle to maintain a relationship to actually value that? Right. So I feel like that which you invest the most time into, you get the most upset about, or the most, let's say, like you said, emotional about, right? So I feel like people who spend a lot of time on Discord or on in YouTube chats and stuff like that, they're probably going to be more emotional, or they're going to react more emotionally. Like you said, they're going to be more real. But if you're barely on here, it's kind of like
right.
You know what I'm saying? You can only be so invested in it if you're barely on here. So that's why I feel like a lot of people say, "Oh, I gotta take a break," because they realize that they're like, "Whoa, it's like the Matrix." I hate to use such a corny reference like that, but
it's not corny. I like those references. I don't think it's corny at all.
It really is.
I think.
Can I go back and put the whole? I looked. It's been 5 months ago, Sam. Mm-hmm. But anyway, if I can put it in perspective, I was upset with you for sharing personal DM information. And I just blew up at you, and then I got over it. Same thing happened with Hostbuster. He tried to dox you and wouldn't talk to you for months. So letting it all out versus letting it fester.
He never got out of it. He's inconsistent. He sent me... I'll send him 3. He might send me 1 back, and 1 might be bad, and then 1 might be, oh, I was just in a bad mood. I'm really cool with you now. What I'm saying is he's an addict. I'm not. He says it on air. If you watch, he acts like an addict, which he is.